nodes. This is an eclipse activation, you guys. Upheaval, transformation, change. But it's going to show us in a very clear way the truth. Hi everyone, Heather here with Astrology with Heather.com, and I am back with another weekly forecast. This one is from Monday, August 9th, all the way through to Sunday, August 15th of 2021. This week we have a big activation of the karmic lunar nodes. This is an eclipse activation, you guys. Mercury and Mars will be squaring the lunar nodes and activating and amplifying an energy that's been bringing us into a brand new fated paradigm since May of 2020. This is also activating the need to take action on something that will be coming back around during the next eclipse season that'll be happening this fall and into the winter, especially in November and December of this year. But before we get into that, I just want to mention for those of you who are new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an important astrology update. I do a new weekly forecast every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And even if you're not new to my channel, the way that I structure my videos is I always begin with a 5 to 10 minute general forecast. Don't skip this because this will provide you with an important overview of the energy for the week ahead, or an important context for the energy for the week ahead that we'll be discussing in greater detail in my forecast for all 12 signs. Speaking of which, when I do get into the forecast for all 12 signs, make sure that you listen to your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign to get a more holistic overview of the energy for the week ahead. Your rising sign will be the most predominant energy, your sun sign will be secondary, and your moon sign is important to listen to as well, although this energy will be more internalized and subjective. Finally, at the end of each video, I do a 2 to 3 minute overview of next week's energy so you can be even farther ahead for planning for the astrology. So stick around to the end if you're interested in that. So let's get back into the general forecast, you guys. So as I mentioned before, Mars and Mercury will be squaring the nodes, but Mars and Mercury, which are currently transiting the sign of Virgo, are not going to be coming into a conjunction until next week on August 18th. So they're starting to form a conjunction, and as they're doing that, as they're starting to form this conjunction, they are starting to square, or they actually are squaring, the lunar nodes. The lunar nodes, for those of you who are not aware, are not actual astronomical bodies. They're calculations that are primarily used to determine the timing of the eclipses, the positions of the eclipses. And so the lunar nodes in astrology have a very karmic, very fated connotation to them, where they represent what we're moving into in this lifetime, what our soul feels an insatiable need to move into, to grow through, to experience in this lifetime. And also the nodes represent our past life experiences and karmic situations that come back around, that are unraveling in this lifetime. And in transit, they represent the same thing. Wherever the nodes are transiting in your chart, you're moving into a new direction that you've never really attached yourself to in previous lifetime experiences, if you want to look at it in that context, with the North Node representing the path that you're moving into. The South Node represents what you're moving away from, but also it shows you where you have a lot of talents and gifts and energies that you can utilize, that you've harnessed in previous lifetimes, that you've mastered in previous lifetimes. And so you can bring that energy in and utilize it in a way that is more selfless, that in a way that is used to serve others, in a way that connects more with some sort of spiritual paradigm or purpose. And, you know, this also represents an energy that's kind of unraveling. We're moving past it. And so in the astrology, when this is happening by transit, when these nodes are transiting a certain area of your chart, it's showing you where you're going and where you feel maybe uneasy because you've never been there before, and also what you're moving away from and what feels more comfortable to you, but maybe is not very satisfying right now. And that could be, you know, a source of tension. It's also an area, this axis of the North and South nodes in transit is an area of upheaval, transformation, change, especially when it's hitting any of your personal planets, and especially when it's being activated by the eclipses, or what I like to call an eclipse activation, which is what we're experiencing this week with Mercury and Mars. Because the planets involved are Mercury and Mars, this is going to take on a specific energy. And so Mercury and Mars are transiting the sign of Virgo. You know, Mercury rules our communication. It rules messages. It rules conversations. It rules information. Mars is very direct and very blunt when it's in a combination with Mercury. And especially when we're looking at the sign of Virgo, I almost feel as if a lot of people are going to be on the receiving end of a lot of nitpicking, a lot of criticism, or some very direct, very specific information that comes to you and just sort of hits you like a ton of bricks, where it's like, oh my God, how did I not know this about myself? How did I not know this about this thing that I've been working so hard to create? How did I just not know this, right? It's not going to necessarily feel warm and fuzzy. It's not necessarily going to make us feel good about ourselves, but it's going to show us in a very clear way, in a very Virgoan fashion, the truth, right? The truth about what we've been doing, the truth about what we've been missing, the truth about where we've fallen short, and the truth about something that we're going to need to take action on in order to move into the path that we're meant to move into in this lifetime. And so that's the big energy for this week, and it's a huge one. It's going to be short and quick, and it's going to be over with before you even know it, because these are two quick moving planets. Mercury and Mars are about something happening very fast, like a flash, and all of a sudden you have to figure out what to do about it. You have to take this information in and do something with it. But as soon as it passes, it passes. And so we'll be feeling it this week. We'll still be feeling it a little bit next week when we have the exact conjunction between Mercury and Mars. But that's about it. So it's this short little period where we have a karmic activation, where something might be turned upside down, where something might be brought to our attention that is so crucial to our soul's development, that will either carry forward something from the past during this, the past cycles, the past eclipse cycles. Again, this has been going on since May of 2020, so this is an ongoing saga, an ongoing story in all of our lives. Or it could show us something that we need to take action on that will become more important this fall and into this winter in particular, when we have dicier energy with the eclipses again. And the final eclipse that we'll be having fully and completely in the signs of Gemini and Sagittarius. So there's a lot of wrapping up that we're working on doing here too. And so that's what we're working with this week. So let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs. But before we do, I have a quick announcement. For those of you who are not already aware, make sure that you download my free Astrology 101 quick reference guide. The link to do so is down in the description below. This is a free resource that covers the planets, signs, houses, aspects. It even covers your big three, the sun, moon, and rising. It covers planetary exaltations, rulership, fall, detriment, all of these things. And it's a great reference for when you're watching my free videos here on YouTube, or if you want to study your own chart on your own time. Again, that is down in the description below. And we are going to be relaunching, or reopening, I should say, the Cosmic Community, which is my membership community where you can get access to all sorts of exclusive content that is guided by what you want to see most, but it's guided by what our members ask me to create, ask me to teach. And also it's a place where we can share and come together as a community. We do it once a month and quarterly to discuss the astrology, to discuss our goals and our intentions, to connect with like-minded people, which we can also do in the community forum. And so there's going to be all sorts of new content ready for you, and I'm super excited for that. So August 23rd, set your date, put it in your calendar. We also have a big surprise for you on that day, and so that is coming up as well. All right, so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs. So for Aries and for Aries rising, there's been an ongoing saga in your life related to your mindset, your perspective on reality, your beliefs, your religious, moral, or ethical or philosophical value systems, where you've been letting go of old paradigms, old perspectives, old ways of believing and thinking and framing your reality. And you've been embracing new discoveries, new information, and new mindsets. There have also potentially been energies or changes around educational pursuits, around travel, Opportunities around vehicles, short distance travel, things like that, or around connecting with teachers or teaching. If you're somebody who teaches or writes or does something along those lines, this energy would have activated something new, a shift, a faded new direction involving all of these themes. This week, there's something going on in your work, in your health, or in your daily routines where you are getting a faded message that's coming in super quickly, super abruptly, and it's causing you to have to change your mindset once again. It's causing you to have to learn something new. It's causing you to have to let go of your old dogmatic beliefs, your old perspective on reality, or the ideas that frame that perspective on reality. It could even be that there is very quickly a new job opportunity or a work-related opportunity that comes up for you this week, and in order for you to pursue it, you have to embrace some new education. You have to embrace a new learning pursuit, or maybe you have to demonstrate what you've already learned through writing or through communicating it in a way that's uncomfortable or that's new to you or foreign in some way. There could also be gossip or issues related to your work environment and your coworkers that come up this week that cause you to shift or change something very abruptly, and it feels really important, it feels really faded, and that's because it is. For Taurus and for Taurus rising, this energy is happening in your second and in your eighth house with the north and south nodes. And so you've been going through a period of moving into a brand new direction, a brand new paradigm when it comes to your money, your finances, your resources, the way that you create resources, the way that you utilize resources. You could have had some major changes, windfalls, upheavals related to your money and your financial situation since May of 2020. This is a faded message. This is something that's coming in really intensely, but the message or the information that you're receiving or the energy that's coming up for you is going to light a fire under you to connect a little bit more deeply with your passions, or maybe it will light a fire under you to pursue additional resources, to pursue a different avenue for the way that you create money, right, in your life, or the way that you save your money or use your money in your life to facilitate greater happiness. Maybe there's something that you want to purchase that is, just more for your own pleasure or your own joy. And it's not necessarily something that you need. It's something that, feels exciting to you, that brings you joy. And this is going to kind of spark your interest in doing that. This could be some sort of message or information or idea that comes up really quickly and really intensely involving your children if you have any. And so it could be that there's an extra expense around your children that comes up that kind of shifts your direction with your finances in some way, or your joint finances in marriage in some way as well, or maybe your savings or your debt or something along those lines too. And so that's what's coming up for Taurus. So there's a message coming in. It's asking you to pursue something that you are really passionate about, or to funnel money into it, or to save or deal with your resources better or differently, so that way you can funnel money into it. But there could also be an expense that comes up unexpectedly related to something that you're really passionate about or related to your children. For Gemini and for Gemini rising. For Gemini, this energy is happening in your sign and in your seventh house, and it's also making a T-square to Mercury and Mars in your fourth house, which is the house of home, family, property, and real estate. There could be a message that comes in through a family member, really blunt, really abrupt. It could be a criticism. It could be new information, or even like a letter in the mail involving your home, your family, or your property. And it causes you to have to shift or change something really quickly and really abruptly. It could be a continuation of an ongoing saga when it comes to your own development and the need to focus more on yourself, your own self-interest, and develop who you are out in the world. It could be a message or information related to an ongoing saga in relationship to your relationships and changes and a new direction that you've been moving into that's very faded, that feels very important in your relationships. whatever it is that comes up for you today, kind of at your roots, family, property, that core area, it's gonna shake you up a little bit, and it's gonna change things. It's gonna shift things for you, especially if you're a Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising, anywhere from 0 to 10 degrees. You'll be feeling this really intensely, or especially I should say 5 to 10 degrees. You'll be feeling this really intensely, and you might have a big change coming this week. For Cancer, and for Cancer Rising. This energy is happening in your 12th and in your 6th house ongoing with the North and South nodes and the eclipse activations. This week, there's an important message coming in very literally. It could be new information, new insight, a new inspiration that just hits you like a ton of bricks. And it causes you to have to shift or change something involving your work, or let go of something involving your work. If you know that the work that you're doing is not serving a higher purpose, if you know that the work that you're doing is selfish in nature, or if it's just not working for you and it's just dissatisfying in some way, now's a time where a message might come in that causes you to really think about that and to shake things up and to change something related to your work. This is also, something that could come up involving a trip, especially a short trip, or something involving vehicles that allows you to take a little bit more time for yourself, for contemplation, for solitude, for spiritual growth and development. If that's the case, and that opportunity does arise, you have a very short moment of time to take hold of it. And so I recommend, potentially doing so if that's applicable to you and if that's available to you. Okay. And for Leo, and for Leo rising. So for Leo, this energy is happening in your 11th, 5th, and 2nd house. And so for Leos, the North and South nodes and the eclipses have been pretty gentle on you, which is good overall, because you've had that Saturn-Uranus square really causing a little bit of chaos, stirring up a ruckus in your chart. But the North and South nodes are being activated. And so there's a faded karmic, really intense message coming in related to your resources or your finances that you might have to deal with this week. You might have to call on a friend, or it might shift or change your views on your friendships, or it could cause you to have to let go of something that you're really passionate about, that you really feel connected to, that has been really comfortable for you when it comes to the way that you kind of decompress, relieve stress, or experience joy. And there's something that you might have to kind of move on from. But this is an energy where you might get a faded, very karmic, very abrupt message related to a new financial opportunity, or potentially an expenditure that could come up for you this week. For Virgo, and for Virgo rising. So for Virgos, this energy of the North and South nodes is happening in your 10th and in your 4th house. And so this is an energy where you've kind of been going through a little bit of a change when it comes to your career and your public reputation, maybe taking things in a new direction, forging a new path, or shifting into a new paradigm when it comes to your career. And it might feel very faded, it might feel very important, you might feel obsessed with moving forward into that. This is also an energy where you've been working on trying really hard to let go of something involving your home, your family, or your property, or bringing something back around from the past, or harnessing, a certain energy that feels comfortable there. This is an important message that could potentially be coming in related to your career, or related to your home or living situation, or both. Maybe you get a message, from a potential employer, and they're like, hey, we want you, here in this city that's several hundred miles away from where you're at right now in a month. So let's get moving. Come on. Or, something along those lines. It could also just be that you feel very intense and you're having a lot of ideas, you're having a lot of inspiration, your mind is racing, you're feeling more anxious about the new career path that you want to move into. In either case, there could be moves made this week. There could be a new direction, a new path that's forged, related to your career or related to your home, your place of living. And there could be some very, very, I don't want to say disruptive, but very almost like divisive messaging coming in through relationships. There could be some tension. And you're probably the source of that tension, unfortunately, with this being in your first house. But just know that the tension that comes in is meant to kind of stimulate action. It's a catalyst for change. It's causing discomfort for a reason. And so just kind of follow that thread. For Libra, and for Libra rising. So for Libra, this energy of the eclipses is happening in your third and in your ninth house. And so, this is kind of an easier energy on Libras. And even with the Mercury Mars conjunction happening in your 12th house, I actually think that's like for a lot of Libra rising people, especially, there's going to be some sort of secret that comes out, and it's kind of like it feels malicious, it feels out of nowhere, it feels really intense. It causes some sort of dispute or argument or chaos in your life, but it causes you to also shift your paradigm and end something or let go of something that no longer serves you. It causes you to open your mind to new possibilities and new opportunities if that does come out. This could also be something coming out of nowhere. It's something that was hidden that you didn't even realize was an opportunity for yourself to kind of go on a trip, to travel, to explore or expand your horizons through new educational pursuits, new paradigms in that way. It could be that someone behind the scenes, kind of compels you, or something that goes on behind the scenes compels you to teach or to share the information and wisdom that you have gained through your experience on a grassroots level, and to do it in kind of a broader context than what you're used to. And that could be part of this energy as well. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, this energy is activating the north and south nodes in your second and eighth house. So there's been a lot of shifts and changes when it comes to your financial situation over the course of the past more than a year, since May of 2020. This energy, first and foremost, I would say that there could be disputes and arguments and really abrasive language that's kind of being thrown at you through your friends or your social circles. It could also be that you feel like you need to call someone out or say something, and it could be really intense. It could be really blunt. There's potential for arguments, disputes, or disagreements, or potentially just your friends kind of criticizing you and pointing out your flaws, but that's going to actually stimulate some sort of change that's going to benefit you on a financial level. And so if that is the case, it's not the worst thing in the world, especially if you're a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees. This is actually going to be sextiling your ascendant sun or moon, and it's also going to be trining your descendant for those of you who are Scorpio rising signs. And so it could just be that somebody really needs to get their point across, and they finally speak their piece, and it just comes at you all at once, and it's like, all right, I'm glad that you finally said that, because now I can change this arrangement, I can change this agreement, and hey, look, this is more financially viable for me. Or hey, look, this is going to be really prosperous for us both, this idea that you had that I am ready to take hold of as well. Okay. And so for Sagittarius and for Sagittarius rising, this energy of the north and south nodes happening in your sign. And so there's an energy here, a friction going on, where you might want to separate yourself from an employer, somebody in a position of power and authority, a boss or something like that, or somebody that you just look up to, somebody who, you look to for leadership, you look to for guidance or advice. It could also be that you're looking to separate yourself from your work, from your career, from a contract involving your work or your career. There's definitely going to be some tension at work or tension around your career this week, or it could be a message coming in that causes you to have to shift or change something involving your career, public reputation, or the legacy that you leave behind after your working years, if that's applicable to you as well. There could be arguments, disputes, disagreements in relationship. If that's the case, you're kind of in a position right now where you have to kind of let things go, and you have to focus more on the needs in partnership, because that's just what the astrology is showing. And so, put your ego aside if you can, and listen to what the other person has to say, because they might have some words of wisdom. They might actually be trying to help you, even if it comes across as being really abrasive, and this might actually create some sort of career development for you. Okay. And for Capricorn rising, this energy of the north and south nodes is happening in your 6th and in your 12th houses. This is you've been kind of going through an energy of shifting the way that you deal with work, especially your day-to-day work habits and routines, but it could be impacting your overall career path. There could have been health issues that have come up for you since May of this year. There could be health issues that could come up for you later on this year, or something along those lines too. But for the most part, this energy this week is bringing up It's bringing up the need to address something when it comes to your beliefs about God, the universe, the world around you, your perspective on the world that's shaped and framed through your value systems, right? What you value, what you believe, what you hold dear. It could be that there's something going on in terms of a new development with your work or with your career path that's not in alignment with your integrity, and you might need to shift, you might need to change paths, you might need to let go of something. If that's the case, let it go, move on, and you'll be better off for it. It could also be that there's a travel opportunity that comes up really abruptly related to your work, or related to the need to kind of let go and take a vacation. So it could kind of go either way. I would say if it is a vacation, there's going to be a lot of work done on that vacation though, so it's not going to be completely restful. For Aquarius and for Aquarius rising. So for Aquarius, this energy is happening in your 11th and 5th house with the north and south nodes, which is actually a nicer placement, which is good news for Aquarius because you've had the transiting Saturn squaring Uranus with Saturn in your sign, making that square all year long. And so it's good that the nodes have been helping you out a little bit. The north node in your 5th house is causing you to focus more on your passions, on the things that bring you joy. It's bringing new things into your life that you've never explored before that bring you joy. And, you know, the south node is bringing in faded karmic friendships that feel familiar, that feel really good, and helping you to very easily let go of karmic relationships and friendships that are past their expiration date. Well, this particular energy with Mercury and Mars, it could bring a little bit of tension or the need to deal with something involving your finances, especially an unpaid debt or a bill that comes up unexpectedly. It could be that you have to deal with, you know, joint finances in marriage or in romance, and it happens really abruptly. It's really harsh. It's all of a sudden, and you're like, oh crap, now I have to deal with this. It could also just be that there are arguments and disputes in relationship involving money or in friendships involving money. If that's the case, you know, it is something that's being brought up. It is something that needs to be dealt with because it'll come back around in November and December if you don't. But there is the need to take action on something involving an investment, involving taxes, involving an inheritance, involving money that comes from an outside source, involving a debt or other people's money. It could also just be that fear gets in the way of your relationships this week, or fear gets in the way of you enjoying yourself, having fun, or connecting with other people. It could especially be fear around finances, but it could be this sort of like anxious energy. Just know that that's going to dissipate, especially after next week. And finally, for Pisces and for Pisces rising. For Pisces, this energy of the north and south nodes have been transiting your 10th and your 4th house. So you've been shifting into a brand new paradigm when it comes to your home, your family, your property, and letting go of old baggage, old karma, things that feel stale, stagnant, unsatisfying, that no longer serve you when it comes to your career, when it comes to your public reputation, when it comes to your relationship with people in positions of power and authority. This week, there could be some arguments and disputes coming up, though, especially if you're a Pisces, sun, moon, or rising anywhere between 5 and 10 degrees. You're going to be feeling this really intensely in your relationship sector. And so, you know, be very careful about the way you say things. Make sure you're taking into consideration the needs of other people before you speak. You know, don't criticize just for the sake of criticizing. And just know that other people might not be taking into consideration your needs before they speak. And they might be criticizing just to criticize. You might get some harsh language coming through somebody that you connect with, that you care about, that you're close with. But, you know, it could be one of those things where the truth hurts. And so this person could be telling you something that's really important to your development, to your soul's growth, to your soul's evolution when it comes to your home and your home life and your living situation, or when it comes to your relationship with your family, or when it comes to moving on from an outdated career path that is not bringing you the opportunities you need anymore, or bringing back in some energy from the past to reinvigorate or reinfuse your career. It could involve career changes in general. But whatever it is that this person is saying to you, or whatever interpersonal disputes are coming up this week, just know that that tension is there as a catalyst to move you in the direction that you need to move into in your career life, your home life, and on a personal level. And so, so long as you don't take it too personally, even though it probably will be personal, and you look at it as a catalyst, you should be fine. You should be okay. Just take yourself out of the situation, breathe a little bit, look at it in the bigger context, and then make your move. Okay, and so that is the energy for Pisces. So let's get into the forecast for next week. And so next week, between August 16th and the 22nd, oh my goodness, this is a big week. So we have the second full moon in Aquarius, obviously coming next week on Sunday, but we also have Uranus stationing to go retrograde. That is an energy we're already feeling. When Uranus stations, it amps up the Uranian energy, which is an energy of disruption, of chaos, of wanting more freedom and craving change of some kind. This is an energy that will stimulate the need to change something that we've been needing to change for quite some time. You'll see people liberating themselves way more so than normal from situations that feel very stifling, that feel very oppressive, that feel very stagnant and heavy. And, it's going to be something that's needed. It's going to be something that's liberating for everybody involved. However, it's going to leave a lot of chaos and destruction in its wake. And that's part of the energy that's been going on all year long, where we have to shake up our foundations, where we have to rattle other people's cages, where we have to change things in order to create the freedom that we want, that we need, that we desire in an area of life that we otherwise thought was very stable and very comfortable. That energy is coming back up this week. It's going to be a big one, or next week, I should say. It's going to be a big one, so stay tuned for next week's forecast on Saturday. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and make sure that you share this information in this video with your friends if you feel like they could benefit from what we discussed today. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.